Welcome to Fiercely Fulfilled Feminine. I'm Ann Hayes, aka Mama G, and I empower women through sacred sexuality to become fiercely fulfilled. Today, I'd like to talk about what divine femininity is, why it's so challenging for many women to embody the divine femininity, and how we can begin to reconcile that. So here's the deal. I'm going to bring it from the lens of sexual trauma, okay, which is, and from my experience. And I guess I'm just jumping in right there, going on a free flow. So that's number one reason why it may be challenging for women. So first of all, let me explain what divine femininity is. Okay, divine femininity is about certain attributes. It's about flow. It's about intuition, the ability to tap into one's intuition. It's about nurturance. It's about compassion. It's about a desire for deep, intimate, emotional connection with others in all relationships, not just romantic relationships. It's about sacred sensuality. It's about sacred sexuality. It's about magnetism. It's about confidence and elegance and really owning one's self-worth and completely accepting one as one is and being authentic in the way one shows up in the world. That is what it means to embody divine femininity. Now, why is it so challenging for at least some, if not many women to do that, like it's been for me? Well, there are a number of reasons. Number one is because for millennia, or at least close to that, we have lived in a predominantly patriarchal society. And the focus has been on masculine traits and masculine energy, and particularly toxic masculine traits, the need to dominate, to control, ambition, and drive, and competition. Okay. And, kind of like superiority, inferiority, and not necessarily recognizing that we are, in fact, all the same. We're all equal, we're all one. That's a little, I just had to put that in there. And so, as women, like, how do we operate in this system? Well, the only way we knew was either we step back and we remain submissive, or we join this patriarchal system, which is essentially what happened. Okay. And that's kind of how I believe modern, feminism came into play, was like we deserve the same rights as men. And now I think a lot of women are starting to realize, well, yeah, I could choose to drive that semi 18 wheeler truck, right? But I don't have to. I don't have to, because what makes me believe I would need to do that, and how is that getting me to fit in? And I'd like to really speak to corporate, the corporate world. You see, there are a lot of women who take on that role, and in order to feel like, okay, I belong in this society. I can compete with men. They actually take on a lot of masculine traits and even toxic masculine traits, even in the way they walk, in the way they talk. The focus is on not even drive, but like super ambition. And there's a lack of flow and balance there, not just for the woman, but for the men. But I'm focusing on women right now. Because, by the way, there is divine and masculine energy and every single person, regardless of gender. However, my focus is on women today because we have that womb. And I'd like to focus specifically on sexual trauma and women, even though that exists as well in men. So we've lived in this patriarchal society and kind of over time trying to figure out, how do we navigate ourselves in this society? How do we advocate for the rights that we believe just by birth, God-given rights, to be able to do A, B, C, D, or whatever it might be? And I feel that as women, as a gender, we've kind of lost as a collective our place in the world and in collective consciousness. And I believe that was divinely templated and designed in. Either way, we're now in an age where we are experiencing a huge awakening of the divine feminine energy within all of us, but especially women. We are here to reconcile what I call the sexual misery programs, those programs intentionally that have intended to suppress the true power of a woman's sexual nature, and not just about giving birth. Okay, so a woman was seen as over emotional, overreactive, blah blah blah, and so on and so on. Well, it was taking kind of the natural attributes of a woman, of being compassionate and nurturing and desiring that emotional connection, and then kind of flipping it on its head and inverting it. You see, because a woman can be balanced in her emotions, can be balanced in connecting. However, a woman who has been sexually traumatized or traumatized in some way, especially sexually, has developed a distorted sense or confused sense as far as the true power of her sexual nature. And then she can become overly emotional, clingy, needy, reactive, disempowered, most likely, or also falsely empowered is the other end of it, because falsely empowered could be, I'm going to go join corporate, okay, and I'm going to be this big shot, and I'm going to show everyone that I can do it. Or I'm just going to cower in a corner because I need someone to take care of me because I don't have the confidence. I don't know what to do. And that's what sexual trauma can do. It can have that much of an impact. And if you were anything like me, I had no awareness of just the impact, what is the word I'd like to use? The power of the impact that my own sexual trauma had in my life. I look back and I'm like, wow, I wish that I had known what I know now. I wish that the people had come into my life before now. I wish that I had the tools and the knowledge when I felt like I needed the most, except because of my experience. I believe that I'm in a position to truly help others to begin to embody more of their divine femininity. So let's get back to the sexual trauma. So there are at least 1 in 3 women, if not more, who have experienced a certain degree of sexual trauma. That's a pretty big number. Now, here's the important thing to know about sexual energy. It is literally the creative life force energy of the universe. Think about it. Think about procreation and birthing babies. And I believe it was God, the divine, who literally used sexual energy to create the universe. The power of Adam and the electron, some call it Adam and Eve, science meets spirituality, is a dynamic dance of sexual energy, divine masculine, divine feminine energy. That is God in that dynamic dance. Okay? That's a dynamic dance. So if you traumatize somebody through sexual, I don't want to say deviance, I guess, through in a sexual way, you are literally just setting that person up for a great deal of struggle. Because what can happen through sexual trauma, these messages come about, well, wait a minute, this feels good and I want it, but I know it's wrong. If you're anything like me, I would be like, I know it's wrong. It doesn't feel good. And at the same time, when I was no longer within the trauma, literally being tortured, it's like I wanted to go back to it because at some level it felt good. The pain of pleasure, the pleasure of pain. Okay, that's a whole nother video right there. And there's some confusion, was like, wait a minute, this is wrong. It's not right. I know it's wrong. It doesn't feel good. I feel shame. And I feel even more shame, compounded shame, because I want to go back because it feels good physically. So you can see what that does to a woman who's been sexually traumatized, to the point where they've been tortured. Some I know have even been left for dead, that they were raped and beaten and brutalized and tortured so badly. So you can only imagine what that does to a woman subconsciously. So everybody talks about subconscious belief systems, but not everybody, and the thoughts that one is thinking. But not everybody talks about the subconscious thinking. So on a conscious level, if you're like me and you get to a level where you've invested over $250,000 in high-level business coaches, marketing coaches, in healing as well, because I've been on this journey for a while, you're like, okay, I'm monitoring my thoughts. This is what I'm thinking right now. This is what I'm doing. I'm working on these mindset practices. And yet you're still not getting the results that you think you should be getting based on what everybody else is getting. Subconscious thinking related to deep trauma within cellular memory, where you literally get the message that you are not worthy, you don't matter, you're not good enough, you're not good enough to be loved, because why would somebody hurt you in that way and tell you, like it was in my case, that they love you. And then turn around and threaten you, turn around and torture you, and vow that you need to keep a secret or else. Or else. So a lot of women who've been sexually traumatized have such a fear and do not feel safe because they believe that anything that they do to step out of that little safe, that shell, okay, to try to connect more intimately as a divine feminine, to try to be more compassionate, beginning with themselves and nurturing, to try to create more flow, to try to tap more readily to the intuition, to be in their divine sensual and sexual nature and to embrace it in a healthy way is not likely to happen initially. It's going to become the toxic femininity, which is latching on to relationships to fill a void. External validation. It's going to be, I'm going to get the butt job, the boob job, the facelift, whatever it might be, or I have to have full makeup on whenever I go out. I have to wear earrings. I can't wear earrings. I need to go to the gym and I need to work out like a dog because I want to have the perfectly toned body. I've got to do Pilates 10 hours a day because if I look a certain way, then others will like me better. I'll be more attractive. Others are going to want me. And I'm going to tell you, there's some men and women who will, because they're like you in some way. They're looking at you as an object, they're looking at you superficially, and they are because you're in your toxic feminine energy. Okay? They aren't going to see you for the softness that you are because they haven't seen their own. And so, again, sexual trauma, because of the messages that one receives as a fallout of the sexual trauma, there's often, like I said, just such a complete lack of worthiness. And it's not even readily recognized as one goes through life. If you're like me, I was like, I love myself. I'm going to go. I accept myself. I'm courageous. I step out. I use my voice. And yet, what I realized, no matter how much healing I had done, I've been on this journey, an intense healing journey, specifically for sexual trauma and trauma in general, for at least 16 years. I can say consistently. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Okay. You name it. I've done it. And yet there was just seemed to be an energetic wall that seemed to be a block. No matter how many belief systems I unpacked, no matter how much I tried to align with the law of attraction, law of manifestation, the universal laws, it just didn't seem to produce the results that I expected to see. So before I continue, because my focus was divine femininity, I want to remind you that this is we're in duality. Contrast is a part of our existence. Everybody's going to experience contrast. The only suffering is the resistance to that contrast. But I'm not going to go any further with that because if you're still in it in the pain like I was, you don't need to hear that. You see, because law of attraction says, oh my God, how did you attract this? Like, you don't seem to have abundance. You don't seem to be happy no matter what you do. You're not doing it right. You're doing it wrong. That's just compounded shame. The law of attraction says you've got a higher self, your Holy Spirit, that knows exactly what you desire. And it's going to give you, like God would, exactly what you desire as a fractalization of God. I desire the most deepest, intimate love affair with the perfect divine spiritual partner. Well, guess what? People talk about the transformational gap. Contrast. So you're right exactly where you need to be. And if you're here now, you're definitely where you're supposed to be. That's what the law of attraction is about. You can't ever do it right or wrong because your desires are your desires. And whatever you desire is becoming your reality. It's just about whether you're consciously creating or not. So if for some reason you've been brought to this video at this time, then according to what I believe is your divine template, you've decided that you had the desire to finally heal because you've experienced enough of the contrast and you're ready to hear a different kind of insight from somebody who can be compassionate and loving, somebody who's going to allow you to be seen, heard, and felt, who's going to hold that sacred space, somebody who's been there at the deepest levels. When I say deepest levels of sexual trauma and torture and mind control, I mean that. And I could go deeper, but I'm not going to share that right now because this is going on YouTube. And so if you're here, I want you to know, I want to help you to begin to embrace more of your divine feminine energy. I want to help you to soften your edges. I want you to help you to realize that you are worthy just as you are. And I want you to be able to feel more fulfilled, more loving, to feel more happy, lighter, and more confident about moving forward. Like, guess what? There is more than hope there, like more than just a little light at the end of the tunnel. Like if this person can be where she is right now, based on her experience, I'm speaking about me, then shoot, I can too. You see, I'm not going to tell you you're doing it wrong. I'm not going to tell you didn't follow the formula. I'm not going to tell you don't know how to apply universal laws. I'm not going to tell you that you need to go deeper into the understanding of the law of attraction, the law of manifestation, although it does go a little deep, and I just shared a little bit now. I'm not going to tell you that. Okay. I'm coming from a space where I've healed enough that I can provide the space and the resonance and the kindness to help to guide you on your own journey to more fully embodying your own divine femininity. I won't shame you, no matter where you are. I've been that hypersexual person. I've been that person who sincerely was just out looking for sex. I've been that person who was very needy and clingy in relationships. I've been that person that was disempowered. I've been that falsely empowered person. I've been that person who always sought external validation. I've been that person who felt like a victim for a really long time. Angry, reactive, aggressive, overly emotional. I get it. And yet, most coaches, even spiritual coaches, unless they've had the experience and unless they have the knowledge of the true power of your sexual nature as a woman, they're not going to be able to help you. They might help to provide some contrast so you can always be grateful for whatever shows up on your journey. But yet, if you really want to step into more of your purpose and to have passion, more passion for your purpose and for life, like I'm doing right now, and to feel more pleasure in your life, let's talk about pleasure. You know, as women, we're so shamed, especially with sexual trauma, we're so shamed into wanting to express our sexual nature, wanting to dress in a certain way. Now, as women, when we dress in a way, and if there's a way to wear a really sexy dress and to expose a little bit of cleavage and a lot of skin, that when a woman is has fully embraced her divine femininity, and she's confident and knows her elegance and knows her boundaries, she will own that. And that has the power to heal anyone around her with its resonance. However, a woman, and this was me as well, who's not necessarily has not necessarily embodied divine femininity yet, is going to show up perhaps maybe not the same outfit, but a different outfit, maybe exposed just a little bit more, maybe walk a little bit differently. The attitude is different because the focus is not, okay, I've got some pride in me, which is a healthy thing because I'm proud of who I am and where I've come. And I'm proud of my values. And I'm proud of my body and I'm proud of my sexual nature. And I'm proud of my sensuality. Whereas a woman who's not just healed to that level is seeking external validation. Oh, if somebody says I look cute, I got a cute ass. Look, I don't know if I could say that on YouTube. I got a cute bottom dollar, okay, or this, or oh wow, yeah. You know, there's a different level of manipulative seduction that is anything but embodying one's divine femininity. However, here's the deal. Now that you know, it came to you, it showed up. I have been guided to offer a free 5 day online masterclass where if this is you, you can begin to reclaim your power and begin to break down the chains of sexual trauma. You see, like I said, I've been there. I've been there. And I know how to guide you and to hold a space, like I said, where you feel seen, heard, and felt. I'm going to share knowledge that has been veiled. I will say it is not in the mainstream. And if you're here, you're open to it. It's going to be completely different. And we're going to get back in touch because a lot of women have become disconnected from their bodies. And the body is how a woman teaches. Men teach through the intellect, the mind, mindset. Women teach through the body, through movement. There's energy. There's an energetic vibrational frequency. We teach through our sensuality and our sexuality. Sex heals. Divine femininity. Let's embrace all of it. So there it is. I am going to drop that link to that masterclass for you to register. That's going to happen in a couple of weeks, starting on April 21st. It's going to happen during Zoom. There is already a private Facebook group set up for that. You can go dive right in there and start to feel connected with others. Get on the email list so that you don't miss anything that's coming up. And let's make this happen. I guarantee you that there are going to be so many aha moments just by geeking out on this ancient knowledge that is just going to totally flip it for you. Have a beautiful day. I love you so much. You've got this. Peace, 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 peace.